Some stories seem too good to be true, or, in this case, too terrifying to be just fiction. You've probably heard of urban legends that spread like wildfire, yet no one really knows if they ever truly happened. Well, what if I told you that some of these stories aren't just internet rumors, but real accounts from people who were never the same again? Fear has a strange way of teaching us that the truth can be more terrifying than any made-up story. The idea that the unknown might be lurking nearby is unsettling, but ignoring it could be a fatal mistake. Who would have thought that a simple game of calling out a name could end in an unexplained disappearance? Or that an abandoned car in a snowstorm could be a deadly trap? And what about someone who was supposed to help, but was actually hiding a sinister plan behind reassuring words? Stories like these remind us that the line between reality and the supernatural can be so thin that, by the time we realize it, we've already crossed to the other side. The human mind seeks logic to feel safe, but there are moments when reason simply isn't enough. When faced with the unexplainable, what would you do? Some try to rationalize while others simply run. But no matter the reaction, one thing is certain. After witnessing the incomprehensible, you will never be the same. But before we go any further, let me ask you something. Are you truly ready to discover that fear isn't just a feeling? It can be real, it can be close, and worse, it could be happening right now to someone who has no idea. Patrick was always different. At school, he wasn't just another student. There was something about him that made people uneasy. He didn't fit into any group and he never seemed to care. But what truly sent chills down people's spines was his strange ability to appear at the most unexpected moments. The rumors started innocently enough. They said that if you said his name 3 times out loud, he would show up out of nowhere. At first, everyone thought it was just a joke, but then the strange occurrences began. A group of students decided to test the theory in the school hallway, and seconds later, Patrick was there watching, without anyone knowing where he had come from. No one could explain how he did it, but the way he stared, his gaze deep and unreadable, left a lingering discomfort. The worst part, even when he was far away, his classmates still felt his presence. It was as if he was watching them at all times, even when he wasn't there. Then, on a stormy night during a party, a teenager decided to play with everyone's fears. In the middle of the crowd, he shouted Patrick's name 3 times. For a brief moment, the music stopped, but nothing happened. People laughed and went back to enjoying the party. Minutes later, a lone figure was spotted outside the house, standing in the rain, staring directly at the window. His face was illuminated by flashes of lightning, expressionless, eyes locked in place. A deep unease spread through the party. The host quickly shut the curtains and tried to ignore it. But the real problem came the next day. Patrick never showed up at school again, and he was never seen again. Teachers refused to talk about him. Classmates avoided mentioning his name. Over time, the story became an urban legend. But those who were there that night swear it wasn't just a coincidence. Would you dare to test this game? It was supposed to be just another normal night. 2 friends, Jake and Brian, were driving down a deserted, snow-covered road. The biting cold reduced visibility to just a few meters ahead. The wind howled, making the snowflakes dance through the air like tiny white blades. The radio played softly as they chatted excitedly about the party they were heading to. The road was one of those rarely traveled, poorly lit backroads. There was a certain discomfort in driving through it so late at night, but they were used to it. Still, a subtle unease grew in Jake's chest as he drove. Something about that night felt off, but he couldn't quite say what. That's when they saw the car pulled over on the shoulder. Its hazard lights blinked, and the doors were slightly open, as if someone had left in a hurry. The vehicle looked fairly new, no signs of an accident or mechanical failure. But what truly caught their attention were the footprints in the snow. They didn't lead toward the road, where someone might try to flag down help. Instead, they disappeared into the darkness of the woods nearby. "That's weird," Brian muttered, leaning in for a better look through the window. "You think someone had to run away?" Jake asked, slowing down the car. A moral dilemma settled between them. Stopping to help could mean saving someone in real danger, a stranded driver, or someone needing assistance. But there was something about the scene that made every instinct scream at them to keep driving. "What if it's a trap?" Brian asked, as if reading his friend's mind. Jake swallowed hard. The thought seemed paranoid, yet at the same time, it made perfect sense. The road was nearly empty. It wouldn't be difficult for criminals to set up an ambush. Before they could decide, a shadow emerged at the edge of the woods. A human figure standing still. It was a bit far, but they could see the person was dressed in dark clothing, their face hidden under the shadow of a hood. They made no motion for help. They just stood there watching. "Oh my God," Brian whispered, his heartbeat quickening. Jake gripped the steering wheel tighter. Everything inside him screamed to hit the gas and get out of there as fast as possible. But the figure's unwavering gaze, frozen in the snow, kept them locked in place. Then the shadow moved, not walking, not running. The swirling snowflakes around them seemed to avoid touching their body, as if even the storm itself wanted to stay away. That was enough. Jake slammed his foot on the accelerator, the tires spinning for a moment before finally gaining traction and launching them forward down the road. Neither of them wanted to admit it, but that moment it wasn't normal. When they finally arrived at the party, they tried to act normal, laughing, talking with friends, but the fear still lingered, pulsing in the back of their minds like an unshakable echo. Then, hours later, the fear turned into full-blown terror when they turned on the TV. The nightly news was reporting a string of roadside ambushes in that very area. The method was always the same: an abandoned car, footprints in the snow, and a shadowy figure watching from a distance. Drivers who stopped were quickly overpowered by criminals hiding in the woods, robbed, and in some cases never seen again. But one detail in the report made everything worse. The description of the criminals matched exactly what Jake and Brian had seen. Yet, according to the police, one of the perpetrators had been found dead earlier that same night, hours before they had driven down the road. His body was frozen solid, his face twisted in sheer terror, which meant the figure they saw on the roadside couldn't have been him. So then, who was that person? The fear settled in permanently. Jake and Brian never spoke of that night again. They never took that road again. But every time it snowed, an unshakable chill ran down their spines, as if something unseen was still watching them from the shadows. And you? What would you do if you were in their place? What makes these stories so unsettling isn't just what happened, but the possibility that it could happen again to anyone. The unknown surrounds us at all times, and ignoring the signs can be a dangerous mistake. Have you ever experienced something that felt like a warning of something bigger? Share your story in the comments. Who knows, it might be the next one we tell. And of course, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because what you discovered today is only the beginning.